Snooper Thursday! Woo! And since we did the oldest brewery in the world, we thought we'd do one of the oldest craft breweries in the world.
Well, probably the oldest craft brewery in America.
Yeah.
Well, did I say craft brewery in the world?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I did not mean that. In America.
Yeah.
So
this
Anchor dates back to 1896.
Yeah, we're doing Anchor Brewing Company. They pretty much kicked off what we know as the modern day craft beer movement in America.
Right.
And like Steve said, he said 1896?
1896 is when Anchor as a name began. They were, of course, destroyed by Prohibition, as were everybody else. And during the long, dark years of Prohibition, did not brew anything or do anything illegal or legal at the time. A lot of breweries during Prohibition switched over to making root beer. So that was kind of their legal...
Budweiser did that.
Right, that was kind of their legal way of getting around that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, keeping business going. But they waited until after Prohibition. They restarted back up again.
Thanks, man.
Sometime in the 50s-ish, they kind of got nailed by the rising light lager, thriving industry that was going, and kind of fell into disrepair, I guess would be a good word for it. But in 1965, Fritz Maytag, who was a big, huge fan of this particular beer, found out they were going to be going out of business, rushed over, and spent a few $1,000s and picked up half the company.
And this is a very loose translation of history.
Kept it going.
It really is.
So the dates are right, though. 1896 and 1965.
When you think of Anchor Brewing, you think of Fritz Maytag. He was he's the godfather of craft beer in America. So it's pretty cool that we did do Weihenstephaner last week, being the oldest brewery in the world, technically.
Let's cheers real quick. Sorry. Cheers.
Cheers. But this week, we're kind of sticking with that same theme. We're going to do the steam beer and the porter.
We're kind of doing like a legend.
And we've been doing this show for 4 years, and we've never done Anchor on the show. And the reason for that is not that we don't like Anchor or that we have any problem with Anchor.
No.
The reason for that was that we had always hoped we'd do this show in Anchor with Fritz Maytag. Clearly that's not going to happen now because Fritz is all like, I'm retired, fuck off. Yeah. He's busy shaking his cane at kids on his lawn.
Exactly. Fritz is like 90,000 years old at this point.
Right. Poor Fritz. He's like, fuck you guys. He just unsubscribed to us on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. We just lost one subscriber right now.
No, Fritz is, I've met Fritz a couple of times. He's a super nice guy, very unassuming. But also, he was, if you want to, I think a really good indicator of Fritz Maytag, I believe it was Brian Yeager's book, The Red, White, and Blue.
Red, White, and Brew.
Red, White, and Brew, right. He sits down with Fritz and talks to him for quite a while. This is a beer that is basically, if you're really a huge craft beer fan, this is your culture, this is your history right now. All right,
so getting into the beer. It's just a great beer. I mean, I don't know exactly what a steam beer is.
Well, steam beer is kind of a hybrid of styles because you've essentially got two families of beer. You've got ales and you've got lagers. Right. It's kind of a technical thing, but usually ales are top fermented. They use a certain kind of yeast where the yeast literally ferments on top, and they're fermented at a warmer temperature, and they usually have more of like a fruity, like ester kind of character. Lagers are fermented cooler, and they're usually cleaner.
Right. Bottom fermented.
Yeah, bottom fermented.
It hangs out at the bottom.
Exactly. And this is a lager with that's done with a lager yeast at ale temperatures.
Exactly. Essentially what you've got is it's sort of an amber lager-ish type thing. It's got a little bit more hop to it. One thing I love about this beer is that this is Northern Brewer hops, which is one of my favorite hop varieties.
To me, this is one of the first classical statements of what craft beer was about. Was like taking the lager yeast and being like, I know I'm supposed to ferment it at this temperature, but what's going to happen if I ferment it at this temperature and add a few more hops?
Or what if I can't ferment it at that temperature?
Yeah, right, exactly. And so it's like we're going to experiment and we're going to come up with something new, and that's what they did. And I think that's why I think Anchor kind of like typifies what craft beer is about. Is that it's like we're going to try something different, and we created this whole new style of beer that's like ours, and that's probably the only reason why I'll accept that they can register the Steam, is because they pretty much created the style, so that's fine.
Been validated.
Yeah, you've been validated by Steven.
Yep.
So Fritz, it's fine. Let's go to Master Pairings. We haven't seen Bill for a while.
Yeah.
Let's see what he's doing.
Hey everyone, welcome to another Master Pairings. I'm your host, Bill Sisak. I have Chris White again from boutique-cigars.com. Today, what are we doing here, Chris?
Looks like some more Southern California good old Mexican food. Yeah, quesadillas.
A little quesadilla. And I'm sure they're going to be delicious. And with it, I decided to pair a Doppelbock. I have the original Doppelbock, Paulaner Salvatore. 7.9% big malt characteristics for a lager, fairly high alcohol for a lager. The monks of Paulus were the ones that originated the Doppelbock style. They actually needed, and they also originated the term, as far as we know, history gives us, liquid bread. Monks live a very hard life. Water was a very dangerous beverage to have back 500 years ago due to the fact there was a thing called the plague, different stuff. Water wasn't pure. And so beer actually purifying the water, obviously, by boiling it in the brewing process. The monks needed a beer that would sustain them because during Lenten times, they were not allowed to have solid food from sunrise to sunset. So they needed something stronger, bigger, better. There's an old myth that actually says that monks historically would drink a very low alcohol table beer, beer de table, in the 3% range, and that really did hold true. But there's a story about the monks actually brewing the strong beer down there, and word getting out to the Pope. And the Pope was like, wait a minute, this is a delicious beer that they have. They're not supposed to be having a delicious beer. It's not for enjoyment, it's for suffering. So the way the story goes, the Pope demanded 2 casks of the beer be sent to him in Rome. Of course, they went over the Alps. It took about 3 months. They went by probably donkey or mule, probably mule. And by the time they got there, guess what? The beers were spoiled. And so the Pope took a sip, spit it out, and said, oh, they can drink this. That's fine. They're not going to enjoy this. Little did he know that they had this delicious beverage that we have before us now. So let's go ahead and give this sucker a shot. I think we'll start with 1 bottle, see how it goes. You don't get a drink till we cheers.
No, cheers. Just smelling it.
Big, sweet caramel. Kind of like if you've ever made caramel at home and you've taken the sugar and kind of almost got it to that burnt stage in the pan. You're picking up those nuances.
Tastes exactly like caramel. I mean, caramel flavors just
a wonderful
really
beer.
Dominant in this.
Very aggressive flavor profile for a German lager, actually, because it's a Doppelbock, higher alcohol. Wow. So it really cleanses your palate. Normally you'd get almost a slight metallic on the edges, but now you're getting this caramel toffee nuance that comes across. Really fun beer. Let's try it with these quesadillas. Jesus Christ, these are big. You want to split one, a slice?
Or split one.
Let's see if I can do this correctly. You know what we're going to do? We're going to do a little magical manipulation. This one looks much more easy to handle.
I actually cheated. I had one earlier. So.
There you go. How's that? That work for you?
Perfect.
A little salsa.
Okay.
So, there you go. Just a little red sauce. Give it a shot. Give it a little heat. Now, classically with spicy foods, I like bitter beers, hoppy beers, because I like to accentuate the heat. Because I'm a chili head. I like hot stuff. When you have a sweeter beer like this, what it will actually do, it will do a really good job at subduing that spice. But we have some great carne asada in here, so that's going to match really well with the roasted malt characteristics from the beer. And then I can see avocado, of course, and all the classic goodies. There's going to be cheese. The lusciousness, the fattiness of the avocado, the carne asada. There's some great melted, probably cojita cheese in it. Comes from a true Mexican restaurant. Here, I'm gonna peek a little bit and see what we got here. A little refried beans, a little sour crema or creme fraiche. Yeah, that looks amazing. Let's try it with this beer.
But you're right. The beer does really subdue the heat. You know.
Right.
Quite well.
So one of the great things with sweetness of beer will definitely tame the heat for you. So it'll subdue it a little bit, but allow a lot of the fruity characteristics and chilies and peppers to still play through. The searing of the, they obviously seared that carne asada, that beef. Has that thing I talk about quite often, the Maillard reaction, the enzymatic searing of the proteins, and it's going to go beautifully with the roasted malts.
Oh, that's a phenomenal pairing.
You go from a kind of caramel toffee to this kind of woody, nutty characteristic that plays really well. Really accompaniments, it leaves the heat there, but much more subtly than, say, an IPA would. Very enjoyable. This is a great beer. This is my favorite beer. Matter of fact, once the monks made this beer originally, many secular breweries started brewing a beer in this style, and they actually were all called Salvatore. And then eventually, they they realized, well, we need to have ownership of this name. And I don't think it was the monks by then. I think it was probably Paulaner. But what they did was said, no, Salvatore is ours. So as a tribute, future German breweries, when they did a Doppelbock, they put an ATOR on the end. So you have these other beers like Celebrator.
Got it.
And different ones like that, and they all picked up that nuance. So there's probably about 100 beers out there, both American and German breweries that do a Doppelbock, and they always, as a tribute to Salvatore, put that ATOR on the end. So great beer, great quesadilla. I know the production staff's eyeballing it.
Yep.
But
Like
another
I said, I had
enjoyable
one
Master
earlier,
Pairings.
so.
Thanks for coming on here, Chris.
Yep, thank you. No,
Looking forward to seeing you on one of the cigar Master Pairings coming soon.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, cheers, man.
Thank you.
And we're back from Master Pairings. Did you miss Master Pairings? 2 weeks. They were gone for 2 weeks. But this time it was because we were doing like different shows, not because we just didn't film them.
And I'm going to say that the Vine stuff on our show went
It was worth
very
ditching
happy.
Master Pairings for.
I was very happy.
Are we going to talk about GABF's Master Pairings?
No, not right now.
Okay.
Nope.
Instead, we're going to talk about Anchor Steam's Porter. Anchor Steam. I always do that.
Yeah, I know.
I do.
It's a very common thing.
Anchor
It's okay.
Brewing's
It's okay.
Porter, which has been brewed since 1972
Yep.
and is a fantastic beer.
We're going real old school craft beer with
We
this.
are, aren't we?
Alright,
Make
so
me happy.
don't gloss over that. This has been brewed since 1972.
It's been brewed longer than I've been alive.
This has been brewed for, let's see, I was born in 79, so 2, 9, 8, 7.
Oh.
If I can do my quick math, that's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's 41 years? No?
Stop it. It's 4. Well, no, it is because I was born in 73.
41?
So, yeah, I'm turning 40 this year.
Fuck, dude. This beer is 40 years
Which,
old.
by the way, my birthday is November 23rd, and it's my 40th birthday, and I have yet to celebrate a birthday. So do what you want with that, internet. This is a porter. This has a wonderful, nice, thick, rich mouthfeel. It coats your mouth in a really, like a warm blanket. It's a little bit roasty on the back end, in my opinion. But really what this is about is the nice creaminess.
Okay, on the back end, I can see that. Yeah.
It's the nice creaminess that you get off this mouthfeel.
Creamy.
It's the nice little bit of hints of chocolate that you get.
Yes.
The little bit of roastiness in the end.
Right.
And then just a tad bit of bitterness.
A touch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a
All right,
dash.
that
Yeah.
sums it up. So, stay safe. No. No, I think that's a really good. You summed it up very well.
Yeah. You
but I
put
think-
it succinctly.
Succinctly, not succinctly.
Well,
Succinctly.
that
You
was
just said
last night.
succinctly.
I did.
We are going to be at GABF soon. That's a thing that's happening in Denver. We're going to be doing some really cool shows. We're going to tweet that out. And if you're around, come and join us for those shows. It'll be awesome.
Sure.
And Matt's not going to be there. Sad panda for Matt.
That sucks.
Yeah.
But Matt has a day job.
It's like, what else, Matt? Psh.
I'm not going to be here for the GABF conversation.
Did you hear? Matt got a job at the brewery. Right?
I heard that, yeah. So anyway, we're falling apart because we've had a lot of beer. But we are going to say this right now. Stay safe and drink beer. And we'll see you next week.
Cheers.